Have you ever started something and then quit doing it and then started it again? Have you ever felt like you're a quitter? Well, let me give you some good news. You are not a quitter, you're a stopper as long as you pick it up and start it again. And that was me with our book review of the month. Each month, we're going to come to you with a book that I read and all of my takeaways, and hopefully a way you can implement that into your life, your family, your fitness, your fun, your friendships. My name is Jennifer Mount, and I am the broker and realtor in production here at Legacy Realty Advisors. We are a boutique real estate brokerage right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And my goal is to add value to you in every way possible. I actually have a tattoo on my wrist here and it says, "You are valuable." My son had that same tattoo. And in every conversation and every day, I want to make sure that I remind someone or several people that you are valuable and that what you are doing is important. And that is what this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, really drove home to me. I will be honest, I was a stopper. It took me over a year to read this book. I started reading it, tried to read it, stopped. Picked it back up again, stopped. Picked it back up again, and finally finished. And I am so glad that I did. Two things though that I want to say, first of all, is number one, you're not a quitter, you're a stopper as long as you get back on track. And number two, if it had not been for my mentors encouraging me to pick this book back up and read it again and finish it, then I might not have. So it's really important to have mentors in your life that encourage you to do things that are gonna continue to grow you as a person. So let's get down to the nuts and bolts of it. Why was it hard to read? It was written a very long time ago, and so a lot of the verbiage doesn't necessarily jive, like the hipsters say. It wasn't my vibe. However, the content was still so solid. A couple of takeaways that I had from it are, instead of criticizing someone, try to come from contribution and try to see where they're coming from, and then put yourself in that situation and then try to reframe your feedback in a constructive way. A lot of people are more apt to receive information whenever it's delivered in a way that's constructive. Another thing is, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, okay? We need to listen twice as much as we talk. And a lot of times in this culture that we're in right now, there are 2 more things that I want to point out. A lot of people are engaged on their phones whenever they are in front of a person. And that is, in my opinion, not only rude, it is a distraction from the conversation that you're having. So if you're on your phone and you're doing something important and someone comes up to you and says they want to share something with you, you could say, "Can you hold on 1 second while I finish up what I'm doing, because I want to be fully engaged with our conversation." Okay? Another thing people have been doing, or I've been hearing about, is people having a basket at their front door and having people drop their phones off whenever they come over. I think that's a genius idea, because we are way too connected with our phones, making us disconnected with the human experience. And the other thing is that a lot of times when people are having a conversation, instead of being fully engaged in what the other person is saying, they're just waiting for how they're going to respond. So let's all make it a point to pause and listen for understanding and then respond. And then another one of the main takeaways is that we want to make sure that the conversations that we're in are the conversations that we need to be in and that we have knowledge about, and being fully transparent, okay? Transparency wasn't really a term that they used back when this book was written, but it is something that we are keying in on right now, is that if you don't know the answer to a question, instead of making something up, just say you don't know. Back whenever I had a different job, I was in the telecommunications business. We had a phrase that we love to use, and it says, "That's a good question. Let me check and get back to you with the answer. So at the end of every time I spend with you, and my commitment to you is that I'm going to come to you every week with some valuable content that you can hopefully apply to your life should you choose to. And at the end of every episode that we have, I have a 3, 2, 1. And that's 3 things that you learned, 2 things that you're going to share, and 1 thing that you're going to implement. And so from this week on your 3, 2, 1, I want to encourage you. I want to tell you something. Maybe it's a reminder, maybe it's the first time you've heard it, but readers are leaders. So one of the top 3 things I want to tell you on your 3, 2, 1 today is, instead of scrolling on social media, and I am not perfect. I mean, obviously, no, I've never said that. But I am constantly correcting myself when I find myself mindlessly scrolling on social media. So when you might have a tendency to do that, have a book nearby. And then maybe instead of wasting that time on social media that is probably not going to add any value to your life or to anyone else's, pick up a book and read, because readers are leaders. Okay. Number 2, always come from contribution in conversations, and yet practice the pause, because you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And number 3, always try to find the value in the situation or the conversation that you are in, because that moment to you might be fleeting, but to the other person, it might be the only conversation they have that day with a human being. Okay, so those are your 3 things that you learned. 2 things that you're going to share. Number 1, please share our YouTube channel. We really want to grow our followers so that we can grow our impact. And number 2, another thing I'd like for you to share is this book. It is older, and yet it is one of the most recommended books by my mentors, who are the top leaders in our nation, in our industry, in our world right now, to me. So it is a good read, even though it might take you a little longer. And the one thing that I want you to do this week and remember is that you are valuable, and it is your job to add value to others. Whenever we pour into people, then they are going to go out and pour into other people. And so whenever we are positioning ourselves as a leader, then that doesn't just add value, it multiplies our value, because we're able to reach more people. I'm going to be right back here next week on our YouTube channel, and I will have some great content for you. So please subscribe and share. And remember, you are valuable, and readers are leaders. So instead of doing that doom scrolling this week, pick up a book and read.